pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I used to laugh at when we first started saying Texas flag, and I get confused on indivisible where it went. But I think we got it now. I always laugh every time. Slipper. I'm not smiling this morning.
Ma'am?
You're not smiling this morning?
Oh, well, I've just been busy. I mean, I've been gone to school for a week and haven't been able to see my guys. I got lots of phone calls. And I'm gonna go get a coffee shop for a while and kind of read that. Yes, ma'am, I'm having a bad day. You got any other questions on the phone?
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, dude.
We didn't know this in time to have had it on another time. They really need it as quick as we can get it to them so that they can submit it with that. So thank y'all for helping us out this morning. Meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. And any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 5 minutes. I don't believe we have any members of the public that are present. You don't count, right? Item number 1 is the Supreme Court case concerning the high-speed rail. And we have been requested to review this brief that they have sent. Brian has reviewed it and on our behalf, and the basic thing we would say is it's to try to help them determine that there is not eminent domain. They're not a railroad.
Yes, it's definitely, not speaking for all 4 commissioners, but assuming that's kind of the route we want to go, it's definitely telling the arguments that this is not the right route to go in, it's not going to be profitable, taxpayers are going to be left with the bill, you know, kind of every argument that we've heard now for a few years, and being able to submit that to the Supreme Court. If that's something that the county wants to pursue and join in on, which is what they want as a whole, is to get every county, not Dallas, not Harris, but every county in between to sign off on this, you know, then I'll sign off on it and we'll add our name to the brief. Is that fair enough?
It's fair enough, yes. And from our previous discussions, we have supported any effort that we could to keep it from coming through our county and having our taxpayers subject to this. Their property rights, I think, are one of our main concerns with this railroad.
You know, if it didn't come through our county, I still wouldn't be for it. Well, I think it's, even if it doesn't come through our county, we're still going to be paying tax on it later on.
We'll have to pay for it eventually.
And if you'll notice, the lady that was always come, she's not employed with them anymore.
Correct.
They quit paying her, so she quit coming, so her heart wasn't in it anyway. So, I'll make that motion to do that.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Or any other discussion if you'd like to discuss, all right. Motion carried. Thank you, Brian.
Judge, just let me know, I know you're in touch with them, so let me know if I need to sign it and you scan and email it back to them. I don't know exactly how that process is going to work, so just...
I'll let you look at, it started off with urgent action required. This is the email that I received.
Did they do the don't mind doing one? Did they get that there?
Imminent.
Did that imminent, did they get that clarified?
I somewhere read that, what says it right here? It says TCR, Texas something, established that they are a railroad. Then they will have eminent domain authority. Well, we all disagree with that, and so that, to me, is what we're really trying to fight.
kind of at that 5 right now. It looks like, it looks like.
Okay.
And like you said, not just for our county, our counties, I mean, we especially are concerned about it coming through our counties, but wherever it was, we would oppose it.
Thank you, Judge.
And then we'll see what, if you want to submit it through mine, we'll do that, or,
Yes, ma'am, the brief they sent, I mean, they did not have Navarro County's, you know, they just had a changeover in DA or county attorney, I believe. And so they don't even have that name on here, so this looks like a draft. So I'll get in touch with them. I'm sure they'll send the final draft to
or
me
email it right to us. 'cause
to
they need it
sign.
back.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Item number 2 is revisions to the COVID-19 leave policy. On the first page is the revision according to what we talked about that day, to the best of my knowledge. So you can look at that. But after looking at it again, had a couple of things that I thought we probably needed to address a little more. I know Clyde had one thing that he thought would be a change that we needed to make.
Then at the bottom on the first page, the last sentence says or, and there's nothing after that. Was it gonna say something else? Or at least on my copy.
It sure does just say or. Do
It's got a statement, and then it says or.
you have the old one?
Is that on the one that y'all can approve or the draft?
It's on both.
It's on the first page. We have on both.
Day 7 after post. Contact exposure, symptom free. Seems like maybe she can find that original one, we'll see what that is, but one thing of discussion was, if you look at our sick leave policy, then
With that and that's where that was your notes.
okay. On this second page, on the back. Oh, the R needs to be taken out because on the back of this one, it had 3 options, and it said or, and then day 14 from close exposure, so we only left that page, that day 7 part, so that R does not need to be in there.
Mark it out.
Mark it out.
Period.
Period. Put a period there. Okay, if you want to look at this original one. But on our regular sick policy, we limit that to, and I think you have a copy of that one, sick leave to immediate family who live in the employee's home, who is dependent on the employee for care. And those would be the only persons you could take the COVID leave for, were the same people that we say you can take sick leave for. Just a question.
Okay, that's good.
So this paragraph right here, we want to add that to the code policy? is that
Well,
what you're thinking?
on the second page, the first one you have there, that's page 1, down in the bottom right-hand corner, does not have that in there because we did not talk about that before. And then the number 2, on about the middle, this is the draft, it says draft at the top. Number 4, and qualifying reasons for leave related to COVID is caring for an individual who is a member of your household who is dependent on the employee for care, subject to an order described in 1 or 2. But we added in, who is a member of your household who is dependent on the employee for care. The way it was before, they didn't have to be a member of your household, or just to any individual. It didn't even have to be a
Putting that in
relative.
there accommodates.
Yes, makes it match our sick leave policy.
In that paragraph where it says in order to receive the COVID-19
That's right below where we were.
Yeah, that sick
In
leave
order to
policy.
receive,
This is a written medical document from I would say, healthcare provider, because
Yes.
everybody doesn't go to physicians.
okay, that's good.
And we're gonna give that to the treasurer's office, that will go to the
Yes.
treasurer's office. And that will be secured by the HIPAA stuff, it will be taken care of by, so that nobody will know about all that stuff, correct?
I believe that's. You'll have this because you're the one that looks at the timesheets to see if they qualify. I mean, everybody will have a copy of it, but you actually get the information, I think is what
Are we
it's
still,
saying.
are we still gonna do that sheet like we did with the FFCRA where they check 1 through 6
I think
of
that
what
would be
they're,
good,
and
make it
we
easier
do
for
keep
you.
that and track it.
Yeah,
Now, on that one, the first time when we did it, it says the leave benefits on that very first one, people could be out with their children when school closed. Is that correct?
on the first one,
On the first one,
yes,
but now on this one, they can't.
correct. Now, if they're sick, that's one thing, they
Right.
could, because they're immediate family, but just because the school closes, or daycare, it doesn't qualify as COVID unless they actually are sick.
You know, tickets closed day cause Super Bowl Monday.
Wow.
Can y'all believe that?
Say it again.
They do that every year.
Ticket closes on Monday after Super Bowl, has to last 3 or 4 years.
Man, you know better.
Come on, man.
Go watch
Maybe it's
that
for
thing at
real.
school.
My kids are home.
You turned it off?
My kids are home.
They're not being funny. Connor didn't love it.
I don't care, you put it on.
It was great.
Okay.
That's a bad deal.
I thought they were closed because they had kids that were sick.
It closed today because Super
I know they were
Bowl
joking
Monday.
too. I thought this was funny.
Connor thought that was the best thing ever.
Well, sure.
I would be,
take
if I was in
us to
school,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be all in.
Anything, yeah, whatever, yeah.
But as many days they missed the COVID this year and they have Super Bowl Monday off,
On the draft,
You did know that.
are we in agreement to change physician to healthcare provider? I think that's a good change. And then to, change that number 4 to match what our sick leave policy is. Is there anything else on here that y'all have seen that you need to kind of clarify?
you clarify.
Judge Grant, one thing that was brought up that I'm just gonna need to know is is it gonna be retroactive, like, so since the deadline of 31st, are we gonna, anybody that had it between that time, are we gonna go back and make any adjustments?
I don't know that we legally can.
Okay.
You know, we talked about, like when we did the, can't remember exactly which policy it was, but we got something written from Mike
Yes,
Dixon that said you can't,
on
you
that,
can't
365.
give anything retroactively.
Okay.
I hate that we didn't have it in place then, but,
That's supplemental.
yeah, I think it was, yeah. But is that kind of what you?
I'm not really sure, Judge. I know from, and of course Jeannie keeps up with it, so I know if it was me keeping up, I think practically it would be, I don't know if it'd be difficult to go back from a practical sense, but I'm not sure
Well, it is-
legally whether you could or not.
Yeah, it's a benefit, so we would be giving a retroactive benefit, and that supplemental is with what we were talking about, would have been a retroactive benefit. So, unless we can look and find something that says that we can, if it did, well, certainly we would.
I just know that got brought up, that maybe we
Yes.
could, and I just wanna clarify if we could or couldn't, so.
Well, now, it seems like weren't the 2 that were on at the end of January, they could continue because they were already on it,
Mhm.
on the,
At the end of December, yes.
yes, if it started in December, they could continue on
And I think
getting
we've
it.
only had 2 affected since then that,
Okay. Mm.
see one thing that's kind of conflicting up
Okay,
here.
all right.
I hate that I saw it.
No, no.
Up here, we say in order to receive the COVID-19 sick pay above, an employee must provide written medical documentation. But down here, we're talking about elected official, department head, or employee confirmed, or who has been exposed, quotes the CDC 6 feet for 15 minutes, then they may not come back to work 10 days. So if someone was exposed, but never got symptoms, never went to the
All
doctor,
right, where is that exactly? Let me read it. Maybe what we read
Yes,
and
right.
we're talking about. This part, after
well,
test.
starting here, we're saying up here that they must, to get the pay, an employee must provide written medical document.
Mhm.
Down here, we're saying you can't come to work for 10 days if you were exposed to someone for 15 minutes within 6 feet of them. So does that mean that you gotta be off, but you don't get paid down here?
Well, after testing, now, that's after testing positive. If they tested positive, then they would. But down here, after close contact, is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, after close contact, if they did not test, then no, they don't get paid.
Okay, so they gotta take
So it's
7
their
days,
choice.
7 days off, basically. I just thought that last
Yeah,
paragraph kind of contradicts.
well, and it kind of does, and we did talk, well, Beth and I talked about it, that,
So we're gonna force an employee to go get tested.
no, they don't have to. But if they don't test to qualify for this benefit, then they don't get paid. So if they don't want to test, they don't have to, but then they don't get paid because you don't have that
They would
test
have to
saying
use
that
their
they are
own.
positive. So it's their choice.
But they're gonna get tested if they get paid, if they're off. They'd have to have a test if they're gonna get paid.
That's what it says up here, yeah.
We're not gonna force them to, but if you want your money, you gotta go get tested. But you ain't forced to do that.
And they would just, I mean, and if they had time on the books, they could use their own time and still get paid. They would just have to use their time and not the 80 hours.
So,
They'll still have to have a doctor's excuse to come back though, after 3 days.
As far as I know, that policy and the sick leave isn't changing, so yeah.
Well, and that is,
But
you
this still
know,
says that somebody's gonna miss 7 days of work if they were exposed to someone who did test positive, even though this person didn't.
didn't
Is
test.
that, is this policy
didn't
saying
test.
that we're telling them you cannot come back to work for 7 days? I mean, are we gonna enforce that?
Thought they changed it back, the CDC.
Well, the contact is a question always. You know, did you have a close contact? If you had a close contact and you're not sick, then that's the unknown there.
That's the bad part about this, because this is what someone could,
It
how
is.
someone could take advantage of the situation. Because
Yes.
in their word, they're giving you if they were in close contact with somebody.
But there again, you know, you're trying to protect the workforce, so I don't know what, I mean, we can change that, this is our policy, so tell me how we can, it was,
I don't know, I just,
it was straight on here, and Beth and I have talked about that, you know, we were just, when we were going over this, that is the difficult part right there.
there's no
Of course, you
fix.
could, I don't know
You
what
can
the.
take that out completely and just in order to receive the sick pay, you gotta have a document from a healthcare provider. Anything else, you need to be following the CDC guidelines.
And that's basically what that is the employee has not tested positive.
Yeah.
So if you,
So,
so how do y'all wanna say that? You wanna read it? Read it, read that, Bob.
No.
I've tried to think of a
I mean,
better way, but,
No, I mean, I think Woods right, I know, just looking at what we deal with in court, a lot of times, it's not an excuse that I had it, because then we would be saying, well, hey, next time you come to court, bring your positive test. No, it's always mom or grandma, and that, and it may be true, it may be false, right? We don't really know, and there's no way we can really go back and fact check it, so.
yeah.
I don't know if you, just briefly, like knowing kind of where you're going, I don't know if there's a way to write it to make it foolproof. I think you either roll with it or take it out. I think that's my opinion on one way or the other. But then you're dealing with, kind of what I said the other day, I feel like for most people that would come in with their spouse having their kids in the same household, right? From it, I'm gonna keep myself out of work. For me, it would probably have to be somebody that I'm in that close of contact with. So how do you want to handle that for the employees? If they have a spouse out, should they be allowed to use, because that'd be the person you'd be cutting off if you took it out. But you would be guarding against somebody unfairly taking advantage of it too. I just feel like there's kind of a balance there. That's
it's
tough.
almost like it should be up to the department head, and like we were talking earlier, it's, road and bridge is a lot different than people in the office, it's different exposure. And,
But
I want to make it work, I just wonder if we
Oh, I
needed to
know.
delete that last paragraph, and then it kind of becomes on a case-by-case basis.
we do have here, one of the qualifying reasons, if you're caring for an individual who is a member of your household.
Okay, so that's in there.
So,
And that makes it coincide with the existing.
well, not exactly. Not exactly, because it's also, subject to, are you under a quarantine, or have you been advised to self-quarantine that other person? Or the other person has symptoms and is seeking, no, it doesn't, that one's not part of it, 1 and 2. It's hard to fix every spot, but that is, if you're saying, and the reason they have this up here, where it says you may not come to or remain at work until, because you don't want people at work that have COVID. And maybe giving COVID to everybody else. But that last one is the question.
I say we take it out.
There.
There, to that.
Which one we taking out?
In
order to receive the COVID sick pay?
The last 4 lines on the bottom of the page.
Okay? Okay. Is that everybody's?
Fine with me.
Fine.
Do you need a vote on it, or what?
We do to amend the policy for changing physicians to healthcare providers and taking out, adding in the definition,
Number 4.
adding into number 4, and then take out the last 4 lines.
Change physician to healthcare provider.
Yes, that was the 3 things. Mhm.
He don't have his hair day turned up today. Never heard.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
You gonna put it on the agenda for next time? Type it up and we'll,
We'll just see how it works.
okay.
I'm gonna 3 burn ban, we have this on each agenda, so if there's no action, is there any action on that?
Talking, big and let, go either way, could or could. So, I told him I'd make a motion, but I'm not gonna make a motion.
Item number 4, approve Texans Feeding Texans Home Delivered Meal Grant Program. These are funds that we get every year to assist with that meal delivery, home meal delivery.
Don't forget.
About 16,000, I think it might be less this time, but it's usually we get 2 different checks twice a year.
It's not a set amount, just depends on how many funds we
Make a
have
motion to approve.
to ratify that.
Second.
All in favor, aye? And be sure that's motion to ratify that.
We went to school, where you just comment?
We are at comments.
Comment, we went to school last week, good school, about part of it. They gave us this, which is an opposition to Senate Bill 234, which is an effort to silence county officials. And they have a whereas deal, you probably seen it.
We'll have it on the next agenda.
Next agenda. And also, Senate Bill 228 is doing away with court reporters, and they're gonna all do it electronically. They won't set it up, so they do it electronically.
A lot of counties are already doing that.
277 is have a lawyer present when
Go ahead.
when someone is magistrated, am I saying that right? It's having a lawyer present when that happens. And I don't think we can afford that.
Well, not only that, I mean, you're on the side of the road, and you need to magistrate someone right then. Say, wait, let's just sit here on the side of the interstate, wait till we can get an attorney.
Yeah, I'm sure the people sitting in our jail will be fine waiting a week to get magistrated weekly
Yes.
before they can bond out. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
some of this is for protection, it sounds like, but then, sure enough, somebody sits in there for 8 hours, they're yelling about, where's my magistration, because I want to bond out. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it cuts both ways, you know what I mean? I'd be fine with that, but we would magistrate on a 48-hour basis, or however much we could push it out. But anyway, sorry, you got me fired up. I just think it's unbelievably
Well,
short-sighted.
it's an unfunded mandate is what it is.
It's not only, Jim Allison was not only talking about TAC, he was talking about Sheriff's Association, constables. I'm sure Linda's bunch, they have a group statewide that they have schools with, and nobody, he said there'll be 6,000 bills, and said you need somebody to be looking at that stuff when the legislature's meeting.
Exactly, and that's what TAC does. They have a department that
Right.
specially dedicated to reading those bills and see how they affect the counties. Thank goodness, I wouldn't have to be on it.
And also, you don't have to have anybody in comments. We get 5 minutes, you know, that's not a law, we have to do that. We don't have to do it at all.
Yeah, and also anything the commissioner puts on the agenda, it cannot be taken off.
Exactly.
Well, and if a commissioner requests, no matter what it is, if they request for it to be on there, it has to be on there.
I'd like to sure get, I don't know if Cody Harris, I know he's down there probably right now working, but we sure need to get in touch with his little office, tell him how we feel about something that's doing.
We have her number we can give to you
I've got, I think I've got it.
if you don't have it. She's very easy to contact and give your.
She's going to come in here one time. or-
Yeah, she came here one day.
She's been in our county numerous times for a lot of things.
Go ahead with your deal.
Well, it's gonna make everybody mad, I guess. In Montague County, Commissioners Court, this is America. Voted to conduct drug and alcohol testing for employees, including CDL drivers. That's everybody, they're testing.
It didn't say
At
new,
random,
didn't say new at random, I'll have to look at the
You
law
know,
on
I
that.
brought it up
I know that,
17 years ago,
I
and
know
they
that.
said, well, you can't do it. But she's gone now, one said you couldn't do it.
What county is that?
Monte,
let me look at that.
it's just.
Not that I don't believe you're reading, but
And you might need to, I
sometimes
started
I have
at
one.
first.
I'd be interested to see if that meant new employees.
Might be, we test you in.
We test new employees, and we've looked at that before, but we should look at it again. Because by law, we couldn't just randomly test employees. Now, if there
Well,
is,
somebody's gonna make them get a shot.
I'm for it.
no, it's their choice. But you can test an employee if there is reasonable suspicion.
I have some that's gonna be tested tomorrow, that, and
That's
that,
random.
There's
but
no,
no, that's,
yeah, that's random.
that's, they're randomly tested. They're
Random.
randomly
And
tested.
post accident.
So-
And
so we
because
could-
of the CDL thing.
But we couldn't randomly test all employees?
Only if there's reasonable suspicions, the way it's always been. But something may have changed.
And post-accident, Judge,
Huh?
just post-accident, that's in the
Oh,
policy.
yeah, post-accident, yes, that's true. Or reasonable suspicion, but not just randomly test anybody except those that are subject, or do have CDL. But we'll look at that. If it is, we'll talk about it. But that's why, just saying that, sometimes all of the correct wording doesn't get in the minutes for them to pick up.
Not our papers either.
Yeah, or the papers either, that's true. But we'll look at that, sure. Because the reason we didn't do it was not necessarily because we just didn't want to,
Yeah.
it's because we felt like by law we
Well,
did.
they're just now checking people, testing people who've been hired in Montague County for new employees, they were way behind.
They,
That's
I
true.
agree with that.
So how do you think that it's gonna be countywide? Andy, I'm gonna use this book, but you said you don't ever get them, so there you are.
Boy, my mentor, thank you.
Hey, I got one more thing on, we never did talk about, but when the county,
And I think we're okay for this for comments because we're just talking about the law.
when everybody in the county got paid, county employees got paid for snow day.
I think that's something we need to put on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd like to-
yeah.
And I just wanted to mention Mason County Courthouse, I know that's been all over the news, you know, it
Yeah.
burnt down.
You sure did.
Why would somebody do that?
That's neat.
I mean,
Something's wrong,
Yeah.
something's
It was under
wrong, I
demolition,
don't
and
know.
They were lucky, they moved all their records out.
Isn't that
They
wonderful?
were
Yeah.
not there.
Yes.
That's a blessing.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
so.
All
Second.
in favor, aye. Thank y'all.
But if you